Today is Monday, May the 16th, 2016. The time being 8:08 a.m. Central Time or Charleston, Missouri time. Today I want to speak about a city with unequal justice. You know, I view all of my YouTube video comments. I view a lot of other comments and statements that people make. And rarely do I respond because a lot of times, not all the times, people ask questions that they already know. And there's no need of me giving a horse some water if he's not thirsty. But I want to speak about this unequal justice here in Charleston, Missouri. First, I want to talk about an individual, a young man by the name of George Stigney. And I want you to Google up the case because he's a 14-year-old black young man that was executed by the electric chair in 1944 because he was accused of allegedly raping and killing a 11 and a 7-year-old white female. Allegedly now. Now, it's something very peculiar about this case. This was in 1944. Now, this young man was the only black individual in the courtroom. Everybody else that was witnesses, his family members is black, they was threatened to leave town and not to come to court. Now, the jury heard the case for one day, and it took them 10 minutes to convict him. And 3 months later, this young man was executed. The first youngest individual executed in the last century. But now, just in 2014, 70 years later, a female judge took a look at that case. She vacated it. She said she didn't vacate it on the merits of the case. She vacated it because she said that George Stigney didn't receive a fair trial. Now, even though it's vacated, you can't bring his life back. This was in South Carolina. Google up the case and read the story. Because what happened to George Stigney is happening to people today. Look at the hundreds and the thousands of individuals getting cases overturned that was on death row. My reasoning for this is because not in Charleston, South Carolina, but right here in Charleston, Missouri. In February of 2001, I went to trial because a white female accused me of something. And it wasn't what Les Gillespie and some of these other people out in the streets claim it was. It wasn't rape. It was called a misdemeanor of sexual misconduct. Or in other places it would be called an indecent exposure, which I still claim my innocence 16 years later. But like George Stigney, I was the only black one in that courtroom with the exception of one black juror. It was 11 white jurors and one black. All the other blacks was taken off the jury. And those that could have got on the jury, some of these so-called retired school teachers preachers, school board members, they refused to get on the jury. That way I couldn't get a fair trial. They said because they know me. But if you look at the jurors that was on this particular case, just about each one of them knew the state's attorney. You know why? Because her family was a big farming people here in Charleston, Missouri, or Southeast Missouri. They knew the then lieutenant of the Charleston Police Department, Robert Hearns, or Bobby Hearns, who's the chief of police now, who wrote this report. Him and a white female by the name of Beth Acap, they wrote typed up separate police reports. In both of their police reports, if they look at it, they showing all my public records, show these public records to some investigators that don't work with these local newspapers here, and let them look at each one of y'all police reports you typed up, plus the one that was supposedly been handwritten by chief of police now in the alleged victim. But listen, this trial had started, and then the bailiff came out and told the judge that one of the jurors said that they know the alleged victim and her mother. We automatically asked for a mistrial because they had heard some of the case already. She's back there with the rest of the jurors. That tainted the jury. That corrupted the jury. But the judge said he wanted to hear what she had to say and how she knew the alleged victim and her mother. She came out and said that she worked with the alleged victim mother. She rented a mobile home from the alleged victim mother. She eventually bought the mobile home from the alleged victim mother. And the judge asked her, do she think that she can judge fairly? And she said, yeah. And the judge refused to call it a mistrial. But just a week or so before that, when we had to pool the jurors and asking them, do they think that a black person can have a fair trial in Mississippi County in Charleston, Missouri, if they're charged with doing something against a white and black got up and said they don't think that a black man can get a fair trial. And guess what? The state's attorney, the trial hadn't started. The state's attorney, we were just picking the jury. State's attorney asked the judge for a mistrial. Guess what? The judge granted it. Merely because of what these people said that they don't feel, and what they said they don't feel is true. But yet this juror was allowed to stay on there. Naturally, they convicted me of a Class A misdemeanor. But my point is, how could I not go down to the police station February the 1st, 2012 with my then 5-year-old daughter and make a police report about what a white bus driver did to her on a bus, school bus, in Charleston, Missouri, up under the Charleston R1 school district? How couldn't I go and make a police report of the negligence of the Charleston R1 school district for sending my daughter to that bus along with the bus driver when I signed a contract in 2011, August of 2011, for the 2011 and 2012 school year, that she ride on the bus with her sister? She goes out of the kindergarten at 2:40 and goes to the school office to 3 o'clock. But they breached that contract. I'm not allowed to file now, but this girl is allowed to come down from Charleston, Missouri to Charleston, Missouri when she alleged that a crime happened at 7 or 8 o'clock. But then they come down to the Charleston, Missouri Police Department when the chief is on, which was a lieutenant then, at about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning to file some charges. If you look at the chief of police report, he'll say that he started his report and taking statements from the alleged victim. He didn't even hear her statement out. The reporter showed. They don't want to show you them public records. They show y'all mine. He didn't even finish, and he came to my house, arrested me, towed my car for evidence, but the court would show, the records would show they never searched my car. They didn't give me a fair trial. They wouldn't allow me and my daughter, because my daughters is black, Puerto Rican, and Dominican, and I'm black, and we going up against what a white person did against us, but we can't file no police report. Ain't that something? So how is it equal? I know how that 14-year-old boy felt in that courtroom. You see, I trusted them people back then. Now, that should answer the question of those of y'all ask me what I'm arrested for. You see, because some of y'all y'all sat in that very courtroom. You testified on that very same stand, and you lied. But you lied and you got away with it because you white. And I'm not saying it about all white people. But this is the answer, y'all, because I'm not going to answer y'all, because those of y'all that know, ain't no person that gonna stand up and be a man, a black man, gonna get a fair trial. You see what I'm saying? Why can't my two daughters be able to tell what the bus driver did to my daughter? You know why? Because the fact that they are not white. Why on April the 15th, 2016, when my next door neighbor threatened me, why wouldn't the city attorney or the prosecutor press charges on him? Check out the videos, the YouTube videos. Charleston, Missouri activists. I would stand my ground, part 1 and part 2. The city attorney said that I'm not a credible witness. And I don't have any credible witness. So he's saying my two daughters not a credible witness. They got to be credible when they seen this man threaten me, and then they went in the house to get baseball bats and golf clubs. Kids don't go in the house to get that just to go get it, especially when they not finna play baseball or golf. Now that should answer y'all question. But I'm gonna tell y'all one thing about it. God see it all. God see it all. God gonna turn this place around just like that female judge. It took 70 years. It took a just judge to do what was done. Just like it took a just Chief Justice of the Missouri Supreme Court just last year, August the 29th, to have my case that was put against me by Lester Gillespie for a protection order. She assigned it to a judge that she knew that was going to rule justly. And after 2 hours of testimony, he dismissed it 4 days later. Peace, be still.